Oh, hello, YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I'm going over my end of June wrap-up. I'm a little all over the place today. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, right after filming this video, I am going to a friend's barbecue party. And you might be thinking, hey, Amanda, don't you think you're a little overdressed for a barbecue? And yes, I am. Do I care? Absolutely not. Like, let's be real, I work from home. I do two jobs. I do YouTube and I do my regular job, and both of them happen at home. I've been with my boyfriend for 10 years. 90% of my life, I'm wearing a messy bun and sweatpants. I'm going to enjoy my life and dress up however I want. I was just like feeling myself today. I'm just like, yes, I want to dress how I want to dress, and that's all there is to it. But anyway, let's talk about books. So the second half of June, I don't know, things just kind of went awry a little bit. Just because the world is a hurricane of suck at the moment, and I was not in like a good mental space to be reading anything very challenging. So I don't know, I kind of abandoned my TBR, and there were books on it that I very much want to read, but they were just too heavy for my mental state. So I just like pounded fluffy rom-coms. And do I feel bad about this? Absolutely not. No regrets in this video. Let's go. Let's start talking about books I did read in the second half of June. First category is drunk classics, and I read 2 books for that. Let's just go ahead and start things off with The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Did I like The Great Gatsby the first time I read it? No, I did not. Did I like it the second time? No, I still didn't. I don't like it. Like, I realize whilst drunk, I am not explaining all of the reasons why I don't like it well. Whilst sober, I could give you a more intelligent dissertation about why I think it sucks. But frankly, we're not going to do that in this video. I don't like it. I find his writing pretentious. And I feel like I'm being talked down to. Like, oh, I'm saying something so profound and you don't even get it. Oh, you peasants. And I'm like, really, F. Scott Fitzgerald? Really? Like, I don't know. It's my own personal thing. I don't like the writing style. I feel like it's being talked down to by a pedantic asshole. So there you go. That's how I feel about that. I also read The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. This one was wild. Like, a lot of shit happened in this book. There's a whole drunk classics on it, and you know what? I had a good time reading it. Is it like emotionally taxing to get through? Absolutely. It's very moody and broody and existential, but that's kind of like how all of the Anne Rice books are. So like, I knew that going in. It's just like, oh my gosh, with the world being a hurricane of suck, it was like endurance training to get through it. But I do like it. I think it's very good. And I'm going to go read like the next book, which is Queen of the Damned. I'm very excited about it. This one has such a cliffhanger ending. Oh boy. So yes, you can watch the whole review for Drunk Classics, but I liked it. There you go. Simple, quick review. The next category is fantasy, and I only read one of them. So I have The Discord of Gods by Jen Lyons. Oh man, I adore this series. This is book 5. This is the big finale. Oh my goodness gracious. Like, there was a lot of shit going on, and I needed to know how things were going to shake out. And I don't know, like, okay, sorry. I will explain what I'm talking about later, but like the end of this, without too many spoilers, like, I feel like the door is ajar for Jen Lyons to come back to this world in the future if she wants to. There's enough open threads that it can be returned to. So I'm excited because I think like there'll be a spin-off. There's gonna be a spin-off. I know it. I'm very excited about it. So like I was saying, this is a 5-book series. This is the Chorus of Dragon series. It is intense. If you are a world building nerd, you are absolutely going to adore this. It will give you everything your little like heart will need and love. So yes, this is perfect for you. But that being said, it's 5 books of world building, so it's very hard to describe what the story is. The basic gist is that there are a group of heroes and they need to save the world from demons and an evil wizard. And also there's dragons and there's all kinds of other like magic systems, and there's reincarnation, and there's like a lot, so it's very complex. But is it very good? Yes. Is it like sarcastic and snarky and sassy and funny? Yes, it's all of those. It has a throuple. It has so many things that I'm obsessed with. I love our main characters. They're all so great. I love that the books are kind of unapologetically queer, and like gender norms don't really exist in this world. So it's all like, there's so much world building. There's so much of it. But yes, so this is the big finale. Did I feel satisfied by the big finale? You know what? I did. Overall, it feels like a finale book, like it's wrapping things up, and sometimes it goes off into long, battles and action sequences for far longer than perhaps they need to go on. But that's kind of how it happens with a big finale. You have to have the big battle at the end. So I can't hold that against the book. I feel like it does... It finished up things exactly how I wanted them to finish up. And also it has like a little bit of like a heist kind of vibe going on. And I love a good heist story. So yes, loving this. I will say parts of it are a little predictable. Like the herrings are throwing out there, like the little clues are really obvious. So you're just like, oh, like that's gonna come into play later, obviously. So, it just really is gonna matter whether or not that bothers you. For me, I'm just like, that doesn't bother me. I want to see it happen. I don't mind that I know it's gonna happen. So yes, fully enjoyed this. Good time. I highly recommend this series. Just be aware, it's a lot to read, but it's very good to read. So I recommend. Last category is fluffy historical rom-coms, and I read 3 of them. Like I mentioned earlier, I kind of abandoned my TBR and just pounded fluffy rom-coms. And I have no regrets about it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I just wanted something like, I don't know, peaceful kind of, because I know they're gonna have happy endings. They're gonna be steamy. It's gonna be exactly what I need for like my mental state at the moment. So yes, no regrets. Let's go through all the ones I read. Let's start things off here with A Little Light Mischief by Cat Sebastian. This is a little like novella, but I just wanted to like knock a quick book out, and I did. And plus, you know what? It was Pride Month. I had to get one more Pride-worthy book on my list. So I read this one. It is a FF historical romance. I feel like it's like a good novella. It handles like all of the stuff I need to know to have the story make sense. Things like the characters make sense within the story. I feel like it had a good arc. Considering it's so short, it's kind of hard to do that in a lot of novellas. Like if you're sticking to just one small story, they work. But if you're trying to do too much in a novella, it doesn't always work. This one I feel works because like the characters, their arcs are short, but they're complete. And I really like these 2 women together. And they're a little bit of like opposites attract. So you have Molly and Alice, right? Molly is a lady's maid. She's very like East End of London, very commoner kind of lady, Cockney accent, that kind of whole deal. But very cool and like sassy and like get shit done. Kind of has like a past as a thief a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I'm like interested in your like criminal activity. Tell me more. And then you have Alice, and she wasn't necessarily like nobility, but she was like in the gentry, and her father was a real piece of shit, and like things happened and he kicked her out of the house for something she didn't even do, blah, blah, blah. She's living with this woman who's really dope. She's like an older woman, and she kind of just like helps other women because she has all this money, and she's like, I have fuck you money, I'll do what I want with it. So she just helps women all around town, and I love her. But anyway, so she kind of takes Alice under her wing, and like Alice is like her companion now. So that's how they meet. And it's a lot of kind of, hey, let's stick it to the man. And like I love them together. And then like they go off and they have a good life together, and it's also about like helping other women helping women, love. I mean, it's very short. You can read this in like an hour or 2. It's very short to read, but it was a good time. I highly recommend. Next up, I have Falling into Bed with a Duke by Lorraine Heath. Lorraine Heath is an author I haven't tried yet, but have been wanting to try for a really long time. So I just kind of picked a book at random. This is what I picked. This one is Minerva and Ash, right? And Minerva, she's been on the shelf for like a few seasons. She's very much a spinster. She talks like, I don't know, she speaks her mind unapologetically. Love her. However, you know, this is like the Regency. No, it's like past the Regency. I would say this is like maybe early Victorian era. And men sucked. And they didn't like women who had thoughts in their head. So she's not having a good time on the marriage mart. The only thing she has is like an enormous dowry. So she only gets a-holes like looking after her. So she decides, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to start living my life. I'm going to do what I want. And you know what? I want to get laid. I'm going to go to this like club. They have like a sex club because like I'm sure they did. But basically the men don't wear masks, but all the women do. So she goes and she's masked. And there's this guy, Ash, and he's like a duke and he has some like trauma. And like, well, I don't know. He's very like adventurous and like everybody is like kind of obsessed with him. He's a photographer. So he has all that going for him. Like he has all of the makings of like fuckboy, but like we like him still. And they meet at the club and like things happen and like he kind of figures out it's Minerva, like almost right away. But then he starts talking to the Minerva in real life and he's just like, I like Minerva. Like she's feisty. Like I'm into it. And I'm like, yes, love it. What? Your masculinity isn't threatened by a woman with opinions? Gasp. Like I like him a lot after that. And, you know, there's this whole, like, there's a lot of other things going on here too. But overall, I was just reading this for spicy, fluffy rom-com vibes, and I got them. Do I think things were maybe wrapped up too quickly in the end? Probably so. Like, it had some pacing issues. Overall, I think I gave it like 3.5 stars, rounded up to 4. Why? Because there's enough negativity in the world. I always round up. So it's getting 4. But yeah, I liked it. There you go. I think like it had room for improvement, but overall, it was giving me exactly what I needed when I needed it. So good time. Last up, I have While the Duke Was Sleeping by Sophie Jordan. Now, Sophie Jordan is an author I've read a little bit of before, but I want to read more of. So I just, again, grabbed a random one off my shelf and said, yep, this is the day. This is when I'm reading this. And you know what? I had a good time with this one as well. Fluffy rom-com to the max. As the title suggests, While the Duke Was Sleeping. Kind of like the 90s rom-com While You Were Sleeping. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not mad at it. This one, we're following Poppy. She's a shop girl. She's like a florist. And she's like low-key obsessed with this Duke, right? He keeps coming in, buying flowers for like all these other girls. Like, now this is a fuckboy. But she's like obsessed with him and she's like, oh my gosh, he's perfect. And like, I bet he helps orphans. Like she's just inventing this stuff in her head. And then one day he gets in a fight with this other guy in the street and she's like, oh my gosh, I need to stop this fight. I'm in love with him. And then like there's a carriage barreling down and she shoves the Duke out of the way of the carriage. Like this is like full on like getting into this. However, whilst doing that, she saves his life and also he hits his head and now he is in a coma. And mistaken identity stuff goes along to the point where now his family thinks that she's his fiance. And like, I don't know, she gets kind of trapped in this lie. And one part of this lie involves a guy named Struan, right? Struan is the Duke's like illegitimate brother. Also the guy he was in a fight with in the street. So Poppy, Struan, not getting along right away. He thinks she's delusional and she thinks he's a brute. So, you know, kind of like enemies to lovers a little bit, but like there's so much like chemistry between them that I was obsessed with it. Like this is how you write a good rom-com. You want chemistry. This one has excellent chemistry. Like I was very impressed with it. And is it spicy? Yeah, it's a little spicy. And I was like, okay, like go for it. And mind you, I haven't mentioned this already, but Struan, grumpy Scotsman. Like, I know, that's my catnip in a historical romance. I want a grumpy Scotsman. And, like, I got one. So, again, fully giving me exactly what I needed for, like, my mental and emotional health. It's just a fluffy-ass rom-com. And I know it's going to have a happily ever after. It's going to be spicy. It gave me everything I needed. I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading this. Do I think it's incredible? No, but like I thoroughly enjoyed it and that's the point. All right, so that does it. That was all of the books I read this second half of June. I abandoned my TBR list. I had a couple more books on it that I was really excited to read. Didn't happen. It just, I needed to do what I needed to do and I don't regret it, but I did bump Jade War off of my TBR and I'm bummed about it because I love it, but like I wasn't like emotionally prepared to deal with like Magical the Godfather right now. It's too heavy. So it will be back on my TBR later on, but you know what? I'm happy I had just like pounded rom-coms. I had a good time with that. Let me know in the comments down below. I don't know, are you reading a book particularly right now just because you need it for your own mental health? And if so, what is that? Or hey, what books do you read when you're having a bad day? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want cool exclusive content and a book club and early access to my videos, etc., you can consider becoming a member or a patron. The links for that are in the description down below. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Bye!